Hi, this is Robin. Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to talk about our famous structure called Geisel Library in here, University of California, San Diego. So right behind me, that is that kind of like a spaceship structure is the Geisel Library, which is actually the central unit of entire university. And since I was there, I really wanted to analyze on how it's been constructed and what's the history behind it. So let's get closer to see what's really seeing in the outside.
Geisel Library was constructed in 1970 as the name of Central Library, and owed its namesake later in 90s to the one of the worldwide famous American cartoonist and artist Dr. Theodore Seuss Geisel for his generous contribution to the educational system and school. The library was designed by the architect, artist, and urban planner William Pereira, who was very influential especially in California region during the 50s to 60s. Pereira shows his interest in science fiction in many of his large-scale institution architectural work, including the Geisel Library, which is oftentimes described as amalgamation of brutalism and futurism. So what is the brutalism and futurism? Brutalism is actually a term for architecture, which is a style flourished from 1950 to 70 and is descended from the modernist architectural movement of the early 20th century. This term originated from the French word for raw, and it actually reminds me the wild beast in fauvism of the painting. They are both really utilized the similar idea of the emphasis on the raw material of either the raw concrete or the stroke and brush and color in order to regain the representational or realistic value behind the work.
Well, maybe cubism is also related. Maybe more. Yeah.
And also, the futurism is not specific for architecture. It is avant-garde happening during in the early 20th century, and it's actually representing a lot of good deal with utilized line and fluence of the space and the time. For architecture specifically, futurism is characterized by strong chromaticism, long dynamic lines suggesting speed, motion, urgency, and lyricism. So the reason Geisel Library is related to the brutalism and futurism is because of its use of enormous concrete piers and its otherworldly form located at very center of UCSD campus. The Geisel Library has 8 levels in the total, with 6 stories at various dimensions visible above ground and 2 levels submerged under the ground. In terms of material, the building was initially proposed as a glass and steel structure. It was only later changed to concrete and glass building to reduce the cost. The glazed windows are coated with reflective material which make them blend perfectly into the sky. The vast amount of glass creates a sense of weightlessness, which in turn produces a great contrast to the heaviness conveyed by the massive concrete piers. Formally speaking, the library concealed the engineering feat behind its perfectly symmetrical form. One naturally associates the building's stacking of the glass floor on concrete piers to the piling of the book and library stack. And considering this enormous scale, it is almost as if higher power had loaded the floor on the piers to make it into a monument for knowledge. I personally like the design of that such a great deal. First of all, the library codes start short form. It is very fitting for a building which located in the very center of a prestigious university, as it signifies authority and even instigates longevity. Secondly, because the symmetry of the library, anyone can intuitively conceive the full form of the building in his mind by observing just a portion of it. This makes it easy for one to familiarize themselves with seemingly unrelatable building. Comparing to studying in chaotic or intimidating environment, I believe Geisel Library facilitate the student studying experience because they are intuitively familiarized to the building and emotionally humbled by its scale. However, I do agree those who argue the Geisel Library looks a bit bland from aerial view. It is kind of bland. But there are so many artistic work surrounding this center of the university, such as Trees by Terry Allen, The Fallen Star by Du Hosa, or Snake Pass by Alex Smith. which leads out today's topic, changing landscape of the modern art. I think the Geisel Library itself is the trigger point of changing the entire university modern art landscape.
So that's the end of our today's video analyze, and I hope you guys enjoy that video. I do enjoy the video itself because I really like being amazed in the research of how the idea being formulated in behind the building structure. And yeah, this Geisel Library is actually our famous structure in UCSD, and even my parents know there's a Geisel Library in our campus. They really want to see that, but they're far from China. So I hope they could kind of get why it was been there and why it looks such weird in some ways. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the video, and